What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some DPSWTF, Dr. Professor Scientist Weapon Testing Facility. I think we put together a broken weapon set. Now, this is using the Teleport Major Discipline and the Hell Minor Discipline. We are focused on the Hell Shard, which has an enormous damage per hit compared to the other projectiles. Now, we are using just one projectile through our entire loadout, and then we're using everything else to buff that projectile. So let's start off just to the right of the Hell Shard here. We're using Lightning Speed, multiplies the speed of the projectile additively by 66% and adds 4 range to lightning strikes. Now, I actually had lightning strikes in there, but I felt like the higher we go, you see we're at wave 297, the damage was starting to fall off a bit, so I did take that off. I'm leaving lightning speed on here, though, for the additional speed. I'll probably end up removing this one as well, to be honest. Next up, we got Multi-Bullet. Duplicates the affected projectile 3 times. Then we've got Pierce. Then we've got Soul Stealer. Every time the modified projectile hits an enemy, it increases the projectile's on-hit damage for the remainder of the current wave by 4%. Now, this means the tougher the enemy, and the enemies are getting tougher as we get higher and higher in waves, the more times it pierces through enemies and teleports, it's getting in damage buff each time that is just stacking and stacking and stacking. So this is just helping us push through into the later waves here. I've got another multi-bullet in there just for some additional projectiles. We've got Fling. It flings back enemies, so it's a knockback. Additionally, it is a 25% power gain after the knockback there. We've got Size Increase at 200%. We've got damage per teleport. Each time the projectile teleports back to the beginning of the row, it's getting a 200% damage buff. Once again, the more teleports we get, the more damage our projectiles are doing. We got yet another Pierce on there just for a little bit more Pierce. And then this was one of my 6 mods. I rolled this one with 6 modifiers, so we got 3 positive and 3 negative mods. Repeat was one of the mods that are locked and was part of that. It is the legendaries in slot here. So I got Repeat and Pierce as those 2 locked mods, so I cannot move those 2. Now, Repeat, in my opinion, is probably the strongest mod in the entire game. I really think it is, as it's just super powerful, particularly when combined with things like Rapid Fire. Boost through the next 6 components without a delay. Now, normally, it takes 1.5 seconds to fire off the entire row of components or projectiles, so it's 0.1 second per spot. Now, this is being repeated 3 times. So basically, we're firing our entire rows off as fast as the game will let me. I don't think the timing is actually right. It feels like it lags behind a little bit sometimes, but it does create an enormous amount of projectiles. Then I got Speed Increase in there. We want our projectiles flying fast because we want to get to the end of the row, teleport back to get that damage buff. Speaking of damage, we got a straight up multiplied damage. Every projectile is hitting for 150% higher. And then I stacked 1 more damage per teleport. Now, this comes back around to the Hell Shard. Why did I focus the Hell Shard? Well, first off, it's one of the new projectiles that came in the last update, so I really wanted to play around with it. However, it has 2 really nice features. First off, it has a innate teleport. So you don't have to use a teleport mod to get your projectile to teleport from the end of the path back to the beginning. Additionally, it has Slide. Now, how Slide works is it's similar to Bounce, as it will allow the projectile to continue when it hits a wall, but it will slide across the wall. Now, in a case like the Hell Shard, where it's teleporting, when it gets to the end and teleports back to the beginning, when it hits this little hump right here, it is going to shoot off of the wall and come back down across. Now, this makes for, and it's unlimited as well. So this makes for basically unlimited bounces as long as they're flowing through. Now, in a perfect setup, I think I would get more and more of these repeat mods. However, they are super, super rare. By using a legendary repeat, you're repeating the next component 3 times. You could essentially pick the, say the 7 best modifiers you have, like damage per teleport, or multi-bullet, or even soul stealer, throw a repeat behind it and increase that. Well, let's see this beast in action, because we have created a monster here. I do have a few other things saved up here, as I may make changes here, but let's check it out in action. Let's throw it at 2 times speed, and it's absolutely absurd, y'all. We created the perfect weapon in the weapon testing facility, or damn near perfect anyway. Let's check it out. Oh yeah. Now the start of the wave, of course, the damage has to ramp up. So with the damage ramping up, it takes a minute to clear the first front of the pack. Once it clears to the front of the pack, it just mashes through all the way back and spawn camps them. This is wave 297. Now I didn't go through the rest of the mods. The full mod loadout is, first off, biggies. Enemies are larger. I've got those 2 legendaries in slot, of course. These are locked mods that can't be moved. I've got all projectiles have damage per size, so the larger my projectile, the more damage it's going to do. Then for our negatives, we got faster enemies, so the enemies are moving quicker. We've got close quarters crowd control. This line right here is the line where you can start crowd controlling enemies. Normally it would start back over here, but with the close quarter mod, I can't start knocking back or freezing enemies until they get to that line. And then additionally, we got double enemy health growth. So the enemy is going to be doubled as far as the amount of health it grows each individual wave. Let's go ahead and let it fly one more time. You see, this is my crowd control line here, this gray line. So when it does get to the gray line, I can start knocking back enemies, since I do have that fling on there for the knockback. So I'm going to let this run go as far as I can. I just kind of wanted to get it out there, though. This game is super, super enjoyable. It's very chillax, and it's like the most awesome late night game ever. It's seeing some of these just absolutely incredible mods here, and I'm just trashing them all because we're so far in the game where I just don't need them anymore. Let's go through and kill the Wave 300 boss to round off this episode. But I think we got a winner here. I'm curious as to how far I can go. Now, eventually, hopefully, I start getting these repeat components, or the repeat mod. Once I get that, it's just the sky's the limit, as we're going to be able to repeat the teleport. Adding 1 mod behind this teleport, it's going to repeat it 3 times, which means I can get rid of this teleport and still get more value out of it because of the repeat. So that gives me more value in teleports with the same number of mod slots. Same thing here, like multi-bullet. I can throw a repeat behind that, get the repeat 3 times, and then I can even get rid of this multi-bullet, or even the pierces. You only need so many pierces. We actually got a legendary teleport enemy there that time, but we're just going to let it trash here. I don't think we need it. And let's check out this boss action at Wave 300. Oh yeah, we are beast moding it out. He's got, 6.7 million health. You see, he hit the crowd control line, so the knockback is kicking in, and we've got enough knockback stacked up where we're just able to keep the Wave 300 boss at bay. So, super excited about this run. I am going to keep saving it and just let it run. It might take me several weeks to get to completion of this particular run. However, it's just absolutely glorious, so thought I just had to share it with you all. But that will do it for this episode. Thanks an absolute ton, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.